Dakota Johnson and the Unspeakable Choice, between Jamie Dornan and Sam Heughan. The Vanity Flame interview took place in a quiet attic room, soft light streaming through frosted glass windows. Dakota Johnson, 35, wore a smoky gray silk dress, her face still delicate but her eyes no longer as innocent as when she first stepped into the Hollywood spotlight. She placed her hand on her cold coffee cup, looked straight at the reporter, for the first time during the interview, and asked, "If you had to choose between two men, one who always makes you feel like yourself, and the other who makes you want to be a better version of yourself, who would you choose?" Without waiting for an answer, Dakota flashed a fleeting smile, the kind that only appears when someone is about to reveal a painful truth. "I'm in love with both of them. And I wish I could just lie about it." The first person to know where her was Jamie Dornan, the co-star who was once paired with her by the world in 50 Shades, was an important part of Dakota's journey to adulthood. Together they went through pressure, arguments, gossip, scrutiny and even malicious rumors. But behind it all, Dakota always felt Jamie understood her without having to try. "Jamie was the only person who could look me straight in the eye when I was broken and not ask, 'Are you okay?' He just sat there." After many years apart, Dakota and Jamie reunited in an independent film project, filmed in Tuscany. Long nights reading scripts together, the sunset over the vineyards, the sound of wine glasses clinking, old memories flooded back. Jamie was no longer the man bound by his old marriage. He was free, and the look in his eyes when he looks at Dakota now is no longer acting. "We slept together, only once, but enough for me to realize I never stopped feeling for him. But Sam is the one who understands her dream." Sam Heughan, the Scottish actor, famous for the Outlander series, entered Dakota's life in a completely opposite way to Jamie. He appeared at a charity fundraiser for independent cinema, not officially invited, just accompanied by friends. Dakota recalls, "He started the conversation with the question, 'If you could play a role that caused you pain, would you do it again?' I knew right away, this person is like no other." Sam is not scandalous, not stereotyped, and carries the aura of someone who can build a future. They wrote scripts together, did yoga together every morning, walked in the rain without umbrellas. Not too passionate, not too frantic. But there was a quiet stability, like a cool breeze after a hot day of filming. "Sam made me feel like I could be okay. I could be a mother, a screenwriter, a normal woman without being expected to shine." The turn that was not easy to return. One night, Dakota flew to Iceland, where Jamie was filming an environmental documentary. No notice, no schedule. She just said to her assistant, "I need to see him. One last time." Jamie opened the door, her eyes confused. But seconds later, they were hugging as if the world was falling apart behind them. In a small wooden cabin in the middle of nature, Dakota asked Jamie, "If I chose Sam, what would you do?" Jamie didn't answer right away, but as he leaned down to kiss her forehead, Dakota heard him whisper, "I will live on, but not with a whole heart." When she arrived in Edinburgh, it was already dark, and Dakota felt the cold not only from the weather but also from the emotions that were twisting in her heart. Sam Heughan was waiting for her at a small cafe hidden in an old street, the yellow light reflecting off the ancient stone walls. Sam stood up when he saw her, his eyes sparkling with a complicated feeling. They didn't need much preamble, they simply sat together, listening to the rain outside the window. The words unspeak, Dakota knew she couldn't keep avoiding him. She had to face Sam, face herself. "You know, Sam, there are people who come into our lives to teach us how to love, and there are people who teach us how to be loved." Sam smiled gently, his voice warm. "Are you talking about Jamie?" Dakota nodded, her eyes sad. He was the one who made me feel like I was myself. But he made me forget that I needed more. Sam looked at her for a long time and sighed. So you're standing between someone who keeps you as you are, and someone who wants to create a more perfect version. Dakota felt each word like a small stone weighing on her shoulders. Sleepless nights. Dakota struggled with herself the following nights in Edinburgh. She wrote in her diary, trying to find answers in the lines, but the more she wrote, the more confused she felt. She remembered Jamie, the quiet moments together, the strange safety of not having to act, not having to try. But she also remembered Sam, the times he and she looked to the future, building real plans, not just broken emotions. One morning, she picked up the phone and called her closest sister. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I love both of them, but I can't choose. Returned to herself. Finally, Dakota decided to leave both men for a while. She returned to Los Angeles, starting a new film project, a story about choice, maturity and courage to face herself. At a press conference, when reporters asked about her love life, she just smiled. Love is not a story about choosing right or wrong. It's a journey to find yourself. Windy, rainy, and sunny days, Dakota realized that the important thing was not who to choose, but how to be true to her feelings, to be loved the way she wanted. Jamie and Sam are still two important parts of her life, each in their own way. And no matter what choice she makes, she will always cherish the memories and the moments they had.